What's going on, folks? Back again for another one. I've been gone for a minute, and yeah, I wanted to make this video a long time ago, but stuff just kept getting in the way. But I'm gonna do it right now. So today we'll be talking about a horror movie from like way back to the 1980s, and actually, when you watch it, it looked like it was released in the late 70s. So this movie is called Burial Ground. And so the whole thing in a flash is you have this professor, this guy right here, archaeologist. He inviting invites some of his friends over for a weekend or whatever. But at the same time, he makes some kind of famous discovery. But it's sort of like, I guess, more than he had in mind about this discovery. And so that's the plot of the movie in a nutshell. So as you can see, it's a zombie flick. So let's get to it. So we had a professor. So late one night, he's working in this cave. Supposedly, it's ancient cave burial ground for the Etruscans 4 or 5 thousand years ago. But it just seems like most likely it was a burial ground for people 200 years ago. They didn't do a good job showing the aspect of it being ancient. So anyway, he's in the cave or the tomb doing his thing. He goes back home and he's looking over what he found, and he's like, "Eureka! Wow, I made a great discovery." Didn't say what it is, but he goes back out to the burial ground tomb. Starts out walking at night, but for some reason, all of a sudden, it's the daytime. Even though we know this place is not too far from where he lives. And by the way, he lives on a gigantic estate. So this guy, archaeologist, archaeology is paying very well for this dude. So anyway, he goes to the tomb, starts tinkering around with something else. Then all of a sudden, these tombs start opening. You got a bunch of these guys coming out, as you see. These dudes coming out. And he does something strange. When they come out, he's like, "Oh no, I'm your friend. I'm your friend." But they descend upon him and pretty much rip him apart. So that's the end of him. But as I said, he invited some people over. So the next morning or in the morning, these people show up. This couple, well, these two couples, along with uh, this lovely lady, her extremely weird looking son. And she did have a husband for a minute, but he don't last long. But we'll talk about him later on anyway. So yeah, and this dude, this is the zombies, you know. Yeah, her son is weird. Probably the weirdest guy ever. To me, he looks like a combination of um, the fitness guy. What's that guy's name? What is that guy's name? Is it Richard Simmons? And the first dude who was on that Blues Clues show for kids, he looked like a weird combination of those two guys together. Extremely whiny voice. So anyway, these people come. They arrive, can't find a doctor anywhere. They don't mind, so they just make themselves at home. So the first thing they start doing is they settle down. They start getting it on. They start getting it on. You know, all of them getting it on. Weirdo dude, this weirdo guy, this weird guy. He busts in on his stepdad and mother like this. Mother's weird too because she's already like this, right? She don't what she does next is this. She does this, then walks across the room and tell us, "Oh, get out of here." It's like what mom would do that to her son? But anyway, let's go to the good part. So anyway, the next day, these two couples, they're out on the estate again. The estate is gigantic. The house he lives in is gigantic, and they come in contact with these dudes. And one thing about these zombies in this movie, they move extremely slow. It's like they can be 6 feet away from you, and it'll take them 5 minutes to get to you, right? So anyway, they see these things. They see them at different parts, and they're able to get away to some extent. But you have you have the blonde. She manages to step in the bear trap. But they still get away because they're extremely slow. And then another thing they realize about these zombies, if you simply take a rock and hit them in the head, they break up like paper mache. They break up like crackers. You can just hit them in the head, break up like crackers. With that being said, so at the same time, weirdo, his mom, and the stepdad. It's the only picture of the stepdad. They're in another part of the house. Zombies encounter him. Stepdad actually have a gun. This guy actually has a gun. And he's shooting at him, but he's shooting at him like in the chest and stuff like that. So of course it don't work. And again, these things take a million years to get to you. He could have just ran like the mother and the son did. He didn't. They rip him apart. So then there's a scene where the son and the mother in the basement. They figure out a way to throw turpentine on the zombies or whatever and light them up inside the house they're in. Not a very good idea, but it works. So anyway, all of them run back into the front part of the house. And mind you, actually running back into the house, you see their cars outside. They could easily get into their cars and drive off. They don't. They run into the house. But again, this house is gigantic. So you can literally have room to roam. Even if you have some of these things inside, they wouldn't necessarily get to you fast because again, they move like molasses in the wintertime. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to have them move that slow. It didn't make any sense. So anyway, they get with the butler and the maid, tell them what's going on. Gigantic place. They're not sure that they closed all the windows. So somebody get the bright idea to ask the maid, hey, go out and make sure all the windows are shut. Instead of her refusing like somebody with sense, like I ain't going out there, she goes out there. And so again, you got the zombies on the ground floor. These zombies, even though they can't move fast, apparently they got skills with tools and knives. You got like one, he as he's attempting to close the windows or the shutters, one throws a knife and nails her hand to the shutter. No, for real. For real. Then they put up they managed to use another tool to cut her head off. you know. So anyway, again they're up in the house. And one thing about this movie is that you kind of can't feel sorry for these people because they do a lot of dumb stuff. So they're all safe in this one room. Then all of them, certain ones for different reasons, they decide to go out the room. Like the lady in the middle, dark haired lady, as I mentioned, the blonde stupidly stepped in a bear trap at some point. She was going out to find band-aids at that time. It's like, okay, lady, just stay in the room and just wait till the morning. No, she doesn't. Um, so there's a scene where she's walking past this window, and all of a sudden, zombie reaches through the window, grabs her head, and stabs her eye with a broken piece of glass. She dies, and the zombie just falls down. And so another thing develops. Let's see. Another thing develops is that weirdo guy and his mother have some kind of strange fascination with each other. Very strange. Strange like this. Really strange. Really strange. So anyway, there's another scene. Well, eventually, um, they have a bright idea to allow the zombies to come in, and as they pass, because they walk slow, they'll leave once they pass. So before that happens, weirdo guy, he goes out the room for some reason. Don't really understand why, but he gets killed by a zombified version of the lady who got her hands against her head. He gets killed by her, and eventually the mother finds out, and she kills her zombie friend. So anyway, uh, towards the end, they actually get out of the house. They get out of the house, and again, instead of running to their cars, for some reason, they decide to run into a mortuary. Porn star mustache guy, the guy on the right of the blonde. Oh, I see somebody. I see a monk. Let me go talk to him. So he followed this monk way to the back of this um, church or whatever it is. And it turns out it's not a monk. It's a bunch of zombies, and of course they tear him apart. And at this point, Blondie, a white guy on the right in a white shirt, and who's left at this point? She's left. And again, they actually get out of that situation. And again, instead of running to the cars, which are right there, they run into some other park. And I mean, pretty much, they run into the park. Then this happens. Um, where's that picture? Is it right here? Yes, this happens. Where her zombified son comes and he says, "Oh, my son, I know you're a zombie, but here you can suck my breast." And of course, he bites it off. That's the end of her. And the other two people who's left now, Blondie and guy in the white shirt, they just stand there and get killed. That's pretty much the end of this movie. It's one of these movies where stuff just happen. They show you a bunch of action. It don't make sense. You really can't get into the characters because all of them they're too stupid for one thing. It's like you can't root behind people who just continually do stupid and dumb stuff in these kind of movies. It's like, okay, your main advantage in this situation is that these things are extremely slow. But yet they act like they can't get away from them. You have cars outside, you can drive the cars and get away. It's like whoever made this movie, I guess they were just, interested in just showing you the action and stuff like that. Otherwise, the story really don't make any sense. You know, zombies again. Yeah. And if you can't get away from them, like I said early on, they showed scenes where they was like hitting them in the head with rocks, and they were just crumbling. They were breaking up like crackers. So Burial Ground. If it's something you want to watch, say like you halfway asleep and you want to get to sleep, I say it's the movie to go for. But if you actually looking for something more compelling with a sensible story that's actually scary, this wouldn't be the one for you. So anyway, I'm gonna end it like that. We got Burial Ground from 1980. Check it out if you dare.